Thank you for joining us for our virtual college information program. I'm Lisa Mathias.
I'm Patty Robleski.
And I'm Lindsay Estradas, and we are the school counselors at Lake Catholic High School.
We are going to take you through the college binder and how to apply to college.
You will be able to access this video and information on our school website after the presentation.
The first page in the college binder is the ACT and SAT information. The first thing we want to tell you about the ACT and SAT is that the students need to send their own test scores to the colleges. Lake Catholic does not send the test scores with their application information. So that's one thing that the students have to do themselves. And the way they do that is they just go to the testing company like ACT.org and they just send their test scores from there. So that is one thing that the students have to do. It doesn't go with their application or their transcripts. So that's one thing we wanted to cover. Another thing is that many of the colleges this year are test optional, where their test scores, it's optional whether they submit their test scores to the colleges. And that's one thing that the students might want to ask their college representative, is if they think it's a good idea for them to submit their scores to the colleges for application purposes. Another thing that they might want to ask their college representative is if they super score, and that's when they take their highest sub score in each of the areas to combine to make one super score. And so sometimes that's really a benefit to the students. So that's something that they might want to ask. Another thing they might want to ask their college representative is what their deadline is to submit test scores. Sometimes it's right when they turn in their application. That's the last time they'll take a test score. Other times it's open so that they can keep retaking the tests, and they'll take their test scores up until the last test score goes in. So that's a question they might want to ask to see if they should retake their score to get a higher scholarship, something like that. So those are some questions that they might have for their college representative. So if you're interested in any kind of college prep classes for the college entrance tests, those might be held soon. Mr. Fuller and Mrs. Turner are planning to hold some classes for that. So just stay tuned and look for information about those. Those will be coming up. Our NAVIANCE program is the career and college program that we use for the students to find out all the things that they can do to look up colleges and careers that they might be interested in. They also use it later when they're going to do their applications. So it's something that we use all the time with the students. We were just in the senior classrooms, and Mr. Fuller made sure that all the students could get on with their passwords. But if they are still having difficulty with that, they can see Mr. Fuller or their counselors, and we will make sure and help them, because it's really a tool that they're going to use all the time. So you can see on this page all the different things they can do with NAVIANCE. They can start by researching careers if they're not sure what they want to do. There's interest inventory and other tools that helps them with that. Once they've decided on a career, they can look up what that career would lead to as far as a college major. Then they can look at what colleges offer that major, and they can go from there as far as looking at what college they might want to apply to. Then once they've done that, they can go on and even apply to colleges from NAVIANCE. They can request their letter of recommendation. They can release their transcripts. And once that's done, then we as counselors, we go on and we send all their application information through NAVIANCE. So, and then from there, the students can look through NAVIANCE and see when the applications were sent. They can track their materials. So everything is done through college on NAVIANCE, that they can see how it's done and when it's sent, and they do everything just from this one site. So as you can see, it's really very helpful. One of the things we have asked the students to do so far, we asked them to write a resume where they're listing all their activities that they've done so far in high school. And so this is really helpful when someone's writing a letter of recommendation for them, because they can really personalize that if they can see what the student has done so far in high school and make the letter really meaningful. So the way they would do that is they would go on as a student, and then they would go to About Me and then to My Stuff, and it will have a place where they will click on the resume, and then it will give them prompts as far as volunteer things and sports, clubs, work, experiences, all those kinds of things. Once they filled that out, then anybody writing a letter recommendation can click on the resume and find out important information about them, and it will help them when they write the letter. this activity is a great thing to do with the parents and students to find out exactly what are you looking for in a college. It's something you can do together. It's called a brainstorming activity, and you can go through and look at all the things to figure out what exactly are you looking for. Some of the things are location, size. Does it have your major? That's a very important thing. I know one student, she was set on one college all through high school. She knew exactly where she wanted to go. Then once she decided on her major, it didn't offer the major she was interested in. So she was just crushed. She didn't know what to do because she always knew where she wanted to go all along. So that's a very important thing. You really want to make sure that it has the major that you want to go into. So those are some things that you want to look at. Study abroad. Many students really want to do that. Some of the schools, really that's a huge program that they offer. So if that's something you're interested in. Internships. Maybe you are concerned about the class size. Maybe you want to make sure you go to a school where they have smaller classes. Maybe you're looking for a really large college. So these are things you want to look for. If you're a CCP student, maybe you want to make sure your classes are accepted. Then there's student life. You want to look to see if that they offer the things that you're interested in doing. So you can continue to be doing the stuff that you like to do, and you'll meet other students that like to do the same things you do. Varsity sports, if you're interested in that, if you're interested in being in a fraternity or a sorority. Then there's also the admission requirements. Will you be able to get into the schools? That's something that you want to look into. Or what types of things will you need to do to get admitted? And then also the kinds of financial aid or expenses that is involved. Will you be able to work there to pay off some of the tuition? So these are all things you'll want to look into to see will you if that interest you as far as what you're looking for in a college. Can you have a car there? The kinds of things that you need to have when you're trying to pick your college. Another thing, maybe career placement is important to you, so you'll be looking for that. Sometimes that's really important. When you're first starting college, you might think that's not quite so important, but really you want to be able to get a job when you're done with college. So that's an important thing to look at too. So once you've done the brainstorming activity and you've circled all the things that are important to you, then you can go back to NAVIANCE and you can look and see, make sure the colleges meet all that criteria. And then you can use this sheet to narrow down your searches for the colleges. You can see what were the top things that I was looking for in academics and in student life. Maybe the things were job placement. Maybe it was they have my major. Maybe they have study abroad. And maybe the student life criteria were fraternity, they have the varsity sport you're interested in, and maybe they have the club that you're interested in. Then you start listing the colleges that are your top picks. You want to have 3 in each of these activities. Dream schools. If you could go to any school, what would it be? And then you would list 3 different schools in the dream area. And then solid candidate school. What schools are you a solid candidate for? Which schools are you pretty sure that you would be able to get into based on your test scores and your grades? Which schools do you really feel solid that you could get into? And then safety schools. Which one are you really, really sure that you could get into? And then looking at this list of colleges that you put down, you would want to apply to at least 3 schools from this list. Each student will need to have recommendation letters to go with their application. Each student should ask their teacher for a recommendation and then request one on NAVIANCE. We recommend that they ask a core teacher, and that would be a teacher that teaches math, English, social studies, or science. They should also put their information on a resume on NAVIANCE. We talked about that earlier, and there's information on how to do that on this page as well. And this helps the teacher be able to write a more personalized letter, and they get the best letter this way if they give them information to write about. So a core teacher is recommended, then another letter from someone that is maybe a coach, a club moderator, a boss. It could be another teacher that they have. So someone else that knows them pretty well so that they can get a really good letter that way too. The counselor will automatically write a letter that goes with their application material. So that gives them 2 letters automatically, the core teacher and then the counselor, and then just 1 additional letter after that. So as you can see on this page, it's recommended that they ask the teacher in person, and then they follow it up by asking for it on NAVIANCE. And then on the second page, it tells you to follow it up once you get the letter of recommendation with a thank you note. That's always nice to show appreciation, because it does take the teachers, a couple weeks, to finish them all up when they get so many requests from other students as well. So you want to allow them some time. If you're going to need the application be done by November 1st, make sure and be asking them, around now, so that you give them plenty of time to get that done. Okay.
We are now going to talk about college visits. Obviously, college visits are going to look a little bit different this year. So our recommendation is that your student should reach out to the admissions office of whatever universities they are interested in. We like to refer to this as demonstrated interest. So it really gets their name out there, and it makes the admissions office and the rep aware of who they are and aware that they are interested in that university. Most of the visits will probably be virtual. There are a few colleges that are scheduling in-person visits, but from what we have heard, those slots fill up pretty quickly. So if they are interested in doing that, they should act on that soon. If it is a virtual visit, again, it will be able to be scheduled at the convenience of the admissions office and the student/family. And we recommend that they follow the same criteria as what they would if it was an in-person visit. Obviously, appearance is very important, so that's something that the student wants to be aware of. Their demeanor, if they were in person or in virtual, it is all part of that initial impression. We also strongly suggest that it is the student who is the one who is asking the questions. They, do not want it to be where the parents are taking over and they're the one asking all of the questions to the admissions. They should try to personalize the visit as much as they possibly can. So if there are certain programs that they're interested in, they should let the admissions office know that, so they can make sure that that would be included in part of their virtual tour. And, it's obviously in person, there's going to be a lot of things that they can experience that, in like virtually, they're not going to be able to. Like, for example, like how we have, like they should, try out the food in the cafeteria. Well, if you're not there, that is going to be very difficult to do. But as much personalization as they can, that's what the universities are going to want to. They want to give the best impression that they have to offer. After the visit, a thank you card is very recommended. And that is just, you want to make sure that they realize that you're appreciative of the time that they took out of their day, and that, you really enjoyed your experience with that university. So we will have some virtual college visits here at Lake Catholic. We have already started with a couple, and I'm sure that we're going to have more as in the weeks to come. So they will be announced over the announcements, and they will also be part of the weekly bulletin that parents receive and students receive. So if a student is interested in attending one of those on Lake Catholic campus virtual visits, they need to sign up in the main office, and then they will be held in the video conference room. And then the teachers of whatever subjects that they missed will be notified that they were attending that visit. If there's something important going on in their classroom that day that they really don't want to miss, they can work that out with their classroom teacher. We're now going to talk about the senior timeline. This timeline will give you an idea month by month of what your student should be doing and what they should have accomplished by that point in time. I do want to draw your attention to a few key dates. The first of which is October 1st. That is the date that the FAFSA opens for submission. That is the federal application for student aid. We will have a presentation after this with our LEAF representative. Her name is Mary Lynn Dixon, and she will explain everything that you need to know for the FAFSA. November is a key month. And by Probably mid-November, students should have all of their applications completed and submitted. We say anytime like around November 1st through the middle of the month, but definitely they should all be submitted prior to Thanksgiving break at the latest. December 1st is the date that the FAFSA closes, so you have to have all of that paperwork completed prior to December 1st. The winter months are really just the time for students to be kind of really thinking through their plans a little bit more. If they want to try to schedule another visit, they should receive their FAFSA award. Maybe they can start researching scholarships. Again, try and set up appointments with Mrs. Dixon. So that will kind of take them through our third quarter here at school. The whole time, they need to also be maintaining their grades for their high school classes. All of that is still very important. That first semester, some schools are going to ask for their first semester grades. So it is really a time to make sure that they're finishing strong. May 1st is the next key date. That is when all college decisions are due. So they really have quite a bit of time to, make their final decision. But by May 1st, they have to have decided where they are going to attend. We're now going to talk about 5 steps to a successful college selection process. A lot of this is going to tie into what Mrs. Mathias covered earlier as far as the college brainstorming activities. So, and these are all really like good conversation starters for you to have with your student in going through and discussing colleges. The first thing that you would want to consider is what type of college do they want to attend? Do they want something small? Do they want something large, private, public, urban, suburban, rural? Those are all factors that they need to consider. Number 2 is travel. Do they want to be able to come home on weekends, or are they comfortable with just coming home a few times over the course of the school year? And can you afford the extra expenses associated with that travel? Number 3 is the financial aspect. This is a time for you and your student to really discuss honestly what your family can afford. 4, their academic and extracurricular interests. Do they have an idea of what they want to major in? If they don't, that's fine. 1/3 of all college freshmen are undecided, and another 1/3 change their major within a year. The sooner they have an idea, it does make them a little bit more ahead of the game as far as selecting a college, and then even with picking out their classes after they've selected and they're doing their registration. Number 5, research. They should do as much research as they possibly can. This would be attending the virtual college fairs, utilizing NAVIANCE and the internet, conversations with friends, alumni, their counselor. And then from that, they can kind of create a list of schools that they're interested in, maybe the ones that they do want to apply to. And if they want to schedule a visit, they can reach out to the school's admissions department. We are now going to talk about the college application process. Deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. That is the number one thing that your student needs to be aware of for their individual universities. Deadlines may vary. So we say the general rule of thumb is that all applications should be submitted prior to Thanksgiving break, but each specific university may have their own deadline. And early action and early decision deadlines are also going to be different. Those will be covered later in our conversation. The FAFSA deadline, which we talked about earlier, is December 1st. Students need to remember that these deadlines are not negotiable. So they really need to make sure that they are very organized and that they know when their school's specific deadline is. Now, where can you find the college applications? A large number of schools use what is called the Common App. The Common App is able to be linked to their NAVIANCE account. There is another separate link that I'm going to go over with you that talks a little bit more in depth about that process. So they can apply to a lot of schools through the Common App. The other option is to find the application on the college's website. So if they know that they're only going to apply to 1 or 2 schools and they don't want to fill out the Common App, they can just go to the school's website and use it on there. They also may have the option, if they attend a college fair or if they were to schedule a visit, that the school may allow them to apply on site. When they do that, they may even be willing to waive their application fee. If they have any questions with the process with applications, they should definitely see their guidance counselor. Now I want you to look at the other document. This document really details the step-by-step process for the Common App and in how to link the Common App with NAVIANCE. So they will need to create a Common App account. Several of them, may have done this already, but it lays it out step by step in how to do it. Then if you go down to the bottom part underneath now, it goes through all of the steps in linking that Common App account with NAVIANCE. So it really does make the process much easier. But if they encounter any difficulty or if they have any questions, they should reach out to their counselor.
Now we're going to be talking about writing a college essay. Essays provide insight into the students' writing skills, but they also help the college admission rep get to know the students of who they really are, not just looking at their test scores or GPA to get a sense of the student. Most colleges ask applicants to write a short essay about themselves or about a specific topic. We really want you to let your personality show through your college essay. So here are top 10 tips for writing a college essay. 1, you want to be careful when reusing essays or portions of essays. Sometimes you will reuse the same essay, but you want to make it specific to each college. So when you do reuse those, just make sure that you're not sending it to the wrong college or anything like that. This is a little bit less important with the Common App. When you are sending essays through the Common App, you're going to be picking one of the essay, and that will be sending it to all of the universities that you select through the Common application. Sometimes, though, aside from that, you might have to do like a sub essay as well. So you might have 2 essays to write for some schools. Number 2, don't overexert yourself. Don't pick too big of a topic, and don't use a preachy tone to the college admissions. They don't want a lecture. Number 3, be yourself. Choose a topic that is meaningful to you. Speak in your own voice. Write more of what you feel and less of what you think the college wants you to know. Number 4 is accentuate the positive. Sometimes you can talk about negative experiences or something that you struggled through, but you really want to emphasize on the lesson you learned through that topic or the experience that you had. We usually want you to write about, your beginning, what you were feeling or thinking during the experience, and then how you can use that experience in your future. Number 5 is to write in an active voice. The passive voice implies that things happen to you instead of you taking charge in your life. Number 6, captivate your audience. Your essay should be engaging and memorable. So your first couple of sentences, you want to make sure that it's something that will be enticing for the college admissions officers to read. Number 7, you want to ask people for input. So once you're done writing your letter, you definitely want to ask your teachers, friends, your counselor, a parent, anyone to read over your essay and see if it was confusing or if you hit the mark. That will be important. Number 8, leave time for rewriting. You never want to send to college your first draft as your final draft. So making sure you proofread, check for spelling errors is very crucial. Number 9, you want to revise or reword. So put your draft into shape through various rewrites. Maybe you could read the essay out loud to feel for awkward sentences. And then going along with that, number 10 is pursue perfection. So you may want to utilize, your English teacher to read your paper. Your parents should read your paper and check spelling. So you want to make it perfect before you set it forward. These tips are also good to apply to scholarships for scholarship essays as well. Now we're going to be talking about the college interview. Some colleges may encourage the students to interview with a college admissions representative as part of the application process. This is your students' chance to show their personality and what they can bring to the campus, and also to build a personal relationship with the college admissions representative. So here are some tips we're going to give to ace your college interview. They definitely want to be prepared and confident when they go into the meeting. So we do encourage them, if they have an interview, that they can sign up with Mr. Fuller or one of the counselors and we will conduct a mock interview and help them prepare for it. Number 1, we suggest that the student research the school and their intended program they want to get into. Just go to their website. They can use NAVIANCE to research. They just want to know as much as possible before meeting with the college rep. Number 2, practice your answers to possible questions. So here is a list of common questions that are asked in college interviews. So we suggest that they go through all of these and they have an answer prepared for them because they don't really know what they're going to be asked. They also want to put in their own academic and extracurricular highlights into anything they talk about. So they want to really relate to the questions. Number 3, they want to be prepared with questions. So at the end, the admissions rep will ask them if they have any questions for them. We really suggest they have at least 2 questions to ask the college rep, just to make sure that they know that they're interested in the college. So 2 questions would be good for that. Number 4 is consider a mock interview like we talked about. So it's really important to practice their skills before they go on the interview. And then number 5 is to follow your interview. Following your interview, always send a thank you note to the person who interviewed them. Now we're going to be talking about early decision and early action, the benefits and the drawbacks of applying early. So early decision and early action, it's going to be really beneficial to your student if they know exactly where they want to go to college. If they have one clear preference, they've researched, they know exactly that college is going to be the best fit for them. Early decision versus early action. Early decision plans are binding. So when a student who is accepted as an early decision applicant, they must attend that college. Early action plans are non-binding. So students receive an early response to the application, but they don't have to commit to that college until a normal reply date of May 1st. So those are 2 of the differences. Approximately 450 colleges have early decision or early action plans. Some of them have both. Some colleges offer a non-binding option called single choice early action. This is where they don't apply to any other colleges but that one. Now we'll look at the differences between early decision applicants and early action applicants even further. So in early decision, The applicants will apply early, usually in November, to their first choice college. They will receive an admissions decision from the college well in advance of usual notification. So usually by December, they will have an answer. They agree to attend the college if accepted and offered a financial package that is considered adequate by the family. They apply to only one college for early decision, but they are allowed to apply to other colleges under regular admission plans. Once they do decide to do the early decision, they have to withdraw all other applications if accepted. And then they have to also send a non-refundable deposit well in advance of May 1st. So those are all the criteria of early decision. Early accepted applicants, they apply early as well. They receive an admissions decision early in the admission cycle, so usually in January or February. They consider their offer, but they don't have to commit right then to this decision. They also can apply to other colleges under regular admission plans, but they do need to give their college a decision no later than May 1st. Now we're going to talk about who should apply. So applying to early decision or early action, it must be appropriate for the student. So students who have researched extensively, they're sure that that's the right choice. They found the college as a strong match academically, socially, geographically, all of that things. And then it meets or exceeds the admissions profile for that college. So they're pretty sure that they are a good candidate for that school. And then they have an academic record that has been consistently solid over their 3 years here so far. A student who would not be good for early decision or early action is they haven't really researched, obviously. They don't want the stress. They just kind of want to apply to college and not have to think about it. They're doing it for their friends because that's where they want to go. So all those things, and then their grades aren't as strong and they need a strong senior year grade to think they could get in. Benefits of applying early, it can really reduce stress for the student. It could save time and expenses by submitting multiple applications. You can gain more time once accepted to get ready, choose housing, prepare for college. The drawbacks of applying early, though, pressure to decide. You have to commit to one school, puts pressure on the student. It also does reduce financial aid opportunities. Students who apply under early decision plans receive offers of admissions and financial aid simultaneously. So they can't compare financial aid offers from other colleges. So once they get that package, they have to decide right then if they can do that. It's also a time crunch for other applications. So once you find out if you were accepted early decision or early application, it doesn't leave you a lot of time left for the student to apply to other colleges if they were not accepted for that program. And then the last part is, does it apply early? Does it increase their chances of acceptance? Many students believe applying early means competing with fewer applicants and increasing their chances for acceptance, but that's not always true. Colleges vary in proportion of the class admitted early and in the percentage of early applicants they admit. So higher admission rates for early decision applicants may correlate to stronger profiles of students. So students should ask the admission office whether their institution admission standards differ between early decision and regular applicants. So they really want to get all their information before they make the choice. Now we're going to talk about scholarships. There are local and national scholarship possibilities that come into our school. There's a couple of different ways that the students can get information about scholarships. One way is they are listed on the NAVIANCE website. Your student would just log into NAVIANCE, go under the college tab, and then you would scroll down and choose scholarship list. And from there, you could just browse and search all different scholarships that you would want. Another way is when counselors receive scholarship opportunities, we will be sending them out through email to the senior classes for opportunities for them, so they can look at both places. So please remember that the guidance staff will help complete all necessary materials and assist the students in any way that they can, but it is the responsibility of the student to adhere to all the deadlines and to notify the counselor in a timely fashion when they need something. Also, a great way to learn about scholarships is from our LEAF representative, Mary Lynn Dixon. She will be going through a bunch of scholarships. She will see each student and go through the scholarships and financial aid with them. Here is some military information. If your student is interested in serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, please see Mr. Fuller or the counselors as soon as you can. We can put you in touch with the appropriate recruiter. There is a lot to the process, so we say the earlier you come see us, the better. We have had a lot of Lake Catholic alumni from all different air forces, like the Air Force, Coast Guard, West Point. So we can also really help make you the best possible ROTC candidate. So if your student is interested in the military, have them come see us as soon as you can. Next is NCAA registration. If you have a student athlete who is planning to play college sport, you will have to go to the NCAA website and register them. And they recommend you do this at the beginning of your senior year if you have not done so already. So the website is listed here, eligibilitycenter.org, and you will have to pay for it. But this is the way the students they need to release their transcript on here, and it has to be sent to the NCAA clearinghouse through NAVIANCE. They also have to send their test score separately to the NCAA. So those are two things that they need to follow if your student plans to play a sport in college. The last thing that we're going to go over is sometimes students like to send a resume with their application. Sometimes students have a lot of, clubs, activities, service that they list, and they think it is a really good idea to send that in a resume form with their application. So these are kind of some tips to go through. Here are some key words to use for the student's resume. They have some self-descriptive words there. And then finally here is a sample resume that people can send. So your student can kind of take this and use it as a sample for them to make one if they wish. That concludes our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you found a lot of the information useful. All of the documents is going to be listed on the Lake Catholic website for you to take a look at. So if you want to go back and review some things, it will all be posted there. If you do have any questions, you can, there will be also a Google Doc set up on the website for you to ask any questions about this presentation. Or you can just reach out to one of the counselors. You can email us, you could call us at any time, and we could answer your questions for you. Thank you for taking your time and watching our presentation.